It was supposed to be a simple weekend escape. Mike and I had been best friends since college, and we both needed a break from the city grind. We packed the truck with tents, beer, and enough junk food to last a month. Destination: Black Pine Forest, deep in the hills where the trails were unmarked and the cell signal died 2 miles in. We arrived just before dusk. The air smelled like pine and damp earth. Mike grinned as he slammed the tailgate. No Wi-Fi, no bosses, no bullshit. Just us in the woods, man. We hiked about a mile off the main path until we found a small clearing near a creek. Perfect spot. We set up the tent, got a fire crackling, and cracked open the first beers as the sun dropped behind the trees. Stars punched through the black sky one by one. For a while it felt like heaven. Around midnight the fire had burned low. We were trading old ghost stories when I heard it. Faint at first, like wind through the branches, but steadier. Chanting, low voices carrying through the trees. Mike sat up straight. You hear that? Yeah, I whispered. Sounds like people. We killed the fire with dirt and grabbed our flashlights, keeping the beams low. Curiosity mixed with that gut-twisting feeling you get when something's wrong. The chanting grew louder as we crept forward, staying in the shadows of the thick underbrush. After 10 minutes of careful stepping, we saw the glow. Orange torchlight flickered through the trees ahead. We dropped to our bellies and crawled the last 30 yards. What we saw made my blood run cold. About 30 figures stood in a wide circle in another clearing. They all wore long white robes with pointed hoods, classic KKK regalia. The pointed hoods cast sharp shadows in the firelight. In the center, a tall wooden cross burned bright, sending sparks drifting into the night. The chanting was rhythmic, hateful words I couldn't fully make out, but the tone was unmistakable, pure venom. One of the hooded men stepped forward, his voice booming. Brothers, tonight we reaffirm our stand. The old ways will not die in these woods. My heart hammered so loud I was sure they could hear it. Mike's hand gripped my arm like a vice. We were hidden behind a fallen log and some ferns, but one wrong move and we were dead. These weren't costumes for a bad Halloween party. This was real. And we were two guys who definitely didn't belong. A twig snapped under my knee. The sound was tiny, but in the sudden lull between chants, it felt like a gunshot. The leader paused. Heads turned slowly in our direction. The circle seemed to hold its breath. I froze. Mike didn't move a muscle. A mosquito landed on my neck, but I didn't dare slap it. After what felt like forever, the leader raised his arms again. The forest protects its own. Continue. The chanting resumed. We waited, barely breathing, until the group turned their attention back to the burning cross. Slowly, inch by inch, we started crawling backward. Every leaf rustle felt like thunder. Every crack of a branch made my stomach drop. We made it about 50 yards when I heard footsteps behind us. Someone breaking away from the circle, moving through the brush, not running, but searching. Mike mouthed, "Go." We stood up and moved as fast as we could without making noise, dodging trees, hearts pounding. The footsteps grew closer. A voice called out low and menacing, "Who's out there?" We broke into a careful jog, branches whipping our faces. The tent was back the other way, but there was no time to grab anything. We just ran. Behind us, more voices joined the search. Flashlights, real ones, swept through the trees like hunting lights. We hit a steep ravine and slid down on our asses, mud and rocks tearing at our clothes. At the bottom, we found the creek and waded through the cold water to mask our scent and sound. The current tugged at our legs as we pushed upstream, away from the camp. For almost an hour, we moved like that, silent, soaked, terrified. The voices and lights faded behind us, but we didn't stop until the sky started to lighten. We emerged onto an old logging road just as dawn broke. No tent, no gear, no truck, just the clothes on our backs and the memory of those hooded figures. We hiked out for 6 hours until we hit a ranger station. We told them we got lost. We never mentioned what we saw. Some things you don't talk about if you want to sleep at night. To this day, I still hear that chanting when the wind moves through the trees, and sometimes when I close my eyes in the dark, I see those pointed white hoods turning slowly toward me. If you ever go camping in Black Pine, stay on the marked trails, and whatever you do, don't follow the chanting. I've always liked hiking by myself. There's a quiet peace to it that I can't get anywhere else. Last September, I headed into a remote part of the northern Cascades, steep ridges, thick old-growth forest, and valleys where the sunlight hardly reaches the ground. I kept my pack light, enough food for 3 days, a small tent, and my bear spray tucked away at the bottom. The plan was simple: reach the ridge by afternoon, camp near a small alpine lake, and head back the next day. By mid-afternoon, the trail had taken me deep into the woods. The trees were huge, with thick trunks and heavy branches that blocked most of the light. I stopped at a quiet stream to refill my water bottle when I heard a low huffing sound coming from the brush about 30 yards ahead. I stayed still and listened. Then came the sound of branches cracking under something heavy. I slowly reached down for my bear spray, trying not to make any sudden movements. Before I could pull it out, the grizzly stepped out from behind a large cedar tree, no more than 25 yards away. It was a big one, probably around 800 pounds, with a noticeable hump on its shoulders and dark fur tipped with silver. Its head moved slowly as it sniffed the air. It hadn't noticed me yet. My pulse quickened. I remembered the basic rules: don't run, stand tall, speak calmly, and back away slowly. The bear started walking toward the stream, heading straight in my direction. Its steps were heavy and steady, claws pressing into the soft ground. I've always liked hiking by myself. There's a quiet peace to it that I can't get anywhere else. I took one careful step backward. A small twig snapped under my boot. The grizzly lifted its head and looked right at me. Its small, dark eyes met mine. For a moment, we just stood there, staring at each other. It gave a louder huff, like a warning. I raised my arms a little to look bigger and said in a steady voice, "Easy there. I'm just passing through. No problem here." The bear took another few steps forward, still sniffing the air. I kept moving backward slowly, one small step at a time, never turning my back. My hand finally closed around the bear spray. It stopped about 15 yards away. Then it rose up slightly on its hind legs, towering for a second while it tested the wind. After a few long seconds, it dropped back down, shook its head, and turned away. It lumbered off into the thick brush without another sound, disappearing among the trees. I stood there for several minutes, legs still shaky, before I finally sat down on a fallen log to catch my breath. That night I set up camp higher up on the ridge. I kept the bear spray close and didn't sleep very well. Every little noise in the dark made me listen carefully. I never saw the bear again on that trip. But whenever I hike alone now, I remember that quiet moment by the stream. It's a good reminder that in the deep woods, you're not really in charge. You're just passing through. I went camping alone that weekend because I needed some quiet. Work had been non-stop, and the city noise never let me think straight. I drove up to an old forest campground in the foothills, the kind with no amenities, just a few fire rings and a dirt road in. I set up my tent near the edge of the clearing, made a small fire, and cooked a simple dinner as the sun went down. The woods felt peaceful at first, Owls called in the distance and the fire crackled softly. After I ate, I sat back in my camp chair and stared at the flames. That's when I first heard it. A voice, faint, coming from deeper in the woods. Hello? It sounded like a man, maybe a bit older, friendly enough. I sat up and listened. The voice came again, a little closer this time. Hey, can you help me? I stood up and shone my flashlight toward the trees. Nothing but dark trunks and underbrush. I called back, Who's there? You okay? No answer for a moment. Then the voice returned, calm and clear. Come here. I think I'm lost. Something felt off. The voice didn't sound scared or hurt. It just sounded inviting. I stayed by the fire and shouted, Stay where you are. I'll call for help in the morning. The voice didn't stop. Please, come a little deeper. It's hard to see from there. I felt a chill run down my back. I added more wood to the fire and tried to ignore it, but the voice kept calling, gentle and patient. Come on, just a bit further. I need to show you something. I zipped myself into the tent early that night, but I couldn't sleep. The voice continued, moving around the edges of the campsite, always staying just out of sight. Around midnight, it got closer. Hey, why won't you come? It's nice back here, quieter. I lay there with my eyes open, heart beating faster. The voice never sounded angry or desperate. It was almost friendly, like an old friend trying to convince me to join him. Come deeper. You'll like it. No one else around. At one point, I thought I heard footsteps just outside the tent fabric. I gripped my flashlight like a weapon and stayed perfectly still. By the time the sky started to lighten, the voice had moved further away again. Come on, just a little deeper into the woods. I've been waiting. I packed up as fast as I could once it was light enough to see. I didn't make coffee or eat breakfast. I just broke camp and headed back to the car, walking quickly down the dirt road. Even as I drove away, I could still hear it faintly in my head. The voice never yelled. It never threatened. It just kept asking, soft and patient. And sometimes late at night when I'm trying to fall asleep, I still hear it. Hey, come a little deeper. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below who you'd like to hear next.